Hey YouTube, today we're going to be looking at the new XYZ Festival event that's going on right now and a new deck that I've been playing. And it's not entirely new to me, but it is new in this game because the way this deck is built in this game is slightly different because of the ban list. So that's going to be Sharks, or in this case, Kragen Control. So this is the deck list that I'm running currently. There are a number of things that I'm thinking about changing. I'm not really sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but for now, this is actually a pretty decent uh, list, in my opinion. Uh, so yeah, let's just get right into it. So first, we're starting off 3 max C3 Ash. It's pretty standard, especially for this tournament. But you know, two of the best hand traps. Can't really go wrong with it. Um, I'm running Tin Goldfish. I'm running this or some other cards as well, but mainly this instead of the Butuniful, was it Butuniful Princess? The level 1. The thing is, I don't really like that card. It's very easily ashable, and also it doesn't get me as much as I would like. So it just gets me a specific fish from my deck rather than getting me another body on field. So I'd rather just have this to help me summon out as many other cards as I can from my hand. So in my experience, this is actually better. People do like Butuniful Princess, but personally, I've been playing Sharks for a long time. I'm really not a fan of it in this deck, but to each their own. Many people do like it, so that's fair. We're running 3 XYZ Remora. This is like a really, really, really good card. Detach 2 fish, or excuse me, detach 2 materials from an XYZ monster you control, and then summon it from your hand, and then special summon 2 fish, level 4 fish monsters from your graveyard. So this is a level 4 water combo deck. This is one of the best cards in your arsenal for bringing out as many level 4 waters as you can. So really, really good card. 3 Silent Angler, one of the best extenders. If you control a water, special summon it. Very simple. Chithana, if you control no monsters or no effect monsters, you can special it from your hand. Again, a great starter, in my opinion. 1 Right Hand Shark. This is something that we're going to be bringing out with a Buzzsaw Shark. Any monster that is, or excuse me, any XYZ monster that is summoned using only water materials, including this card on the field, gains this effect, cannot be destroyed by battle. That is very strong, and there's an extra deck card that I'll get into in a bit that can really, really abuse this, and it's a really funny actually interaction, but we'll get there in just a bit. A 3 Lantern Shark, again, because what this does is it summons a level 3, 4, or 5 water from your hand, and we just want to get out as many water level 4s from our hand as possible. And Buzzsaw Shark, which is like one of the best cards in your deck. One of the best searchers. Basically target a water monster you control and summon a fish from your deck that is the same level as the one you targeted. So probably the best card in your best water monster in your main deck. And I'm deciding to run 2 Silent Sea Nettle. The only reason I'm doing this is because unfortunately, there's only 1 Totally Awesome you're allowed in your extra deck, which really stunts this deck for what it could be, unfortunately. And so I find a lot of times that I will need some other way of recycling my Bahamut Shark and my Toad back into my extra deck, and the Silent Sea Nettle is a great way of doing that because it can banish itself from the graveyard, target 3 water monsters in your grave, and shuffle them back into the deck. So recurs your water cards pretty easily. And it's a lot more easy to summon than Lifeless Leaffish, which does a similar thing and draws 1 card. But Lifeless Leaffish is much more difficult to summon. This is a free special summon if you control a water. It does lock you into waters, but generally in this deck, it's not that big of a deal. We're playing 3 Generation Force. This basically searches any XYZ card from your deck. So that's going to be XYZ Import, which is a bit of interruption, or our XYZ Remora. This is something I'm contemplating taking out. It's really, really good in the regular Shark deck that, in the TCG, we can play 3 Toad. And so that's mainly why I would want to go for it. But, excuse me, in this format, On this game, I'm not really 100% sure about it. I can still make a decent board. I can still utilize the XYZ Remora and make a cool board with the full combo as usual, but it's not quite as strong as the TCG. But for now, I think it's a decent card to still have in there. Pot of Desires, because most of the cards in my deck are just 3-ofs, so we just want draw power. That's all we're really looking for. 2 Droplet. This is just to get rid of any pesky monsters our opponent has on board. This can be played in both, the XYZ tournament as well as the regular format. So droplets is really good, and I'd like to kind of bump this up to maybe 3. Maybe I'd take out one of the Generation Force and put in a 3rd droplet, but right now I think this is fine. And then the one import, we can search this with Generation Force. Basically target one XYZ monster you control and a monster your opponent controls with less attack or equal to it than that your opponent controls, and attach it to your monster. So it's a very underrated card, great piece of interruption. We're deciding to play IO. It's a really good card. I had one extra space open, and I thought, I think this is just a good card that I'd like to play. And then 3 goes in match. This goes along with our Kragen monsters, which gives us our lock on our opponents. So basically, our Kragen XYZ monster in our extra deck turns every single monster on the field water. And then this card is basically gonna say our opponent can't summon anything other than what's on their field. So most people aren't playing water cards or water decks. So they basically can summon one monster, and then that's it. So really strong card. It's one of the focal points of the deck. Really actually strong kind of lock to have. People really don't expect just how strong this can be. So onto the extra deck. We're playing the F-Zero package. We can play this pretty easily. And again, I've said this before, Utopic Draco Future is one of my favorite cards. So yeah, 1 Toad and 1 Bahamut Shark. Basically summon the Toad with Bahamut Shark. And what Toad is it's an Omni Negate. Tribute a Aqua monster you control, or I believe in your hand. Yeah, in your hand or face up on the field. Negate the activation, destroy it, and if you do destroy it, you can set the card you destroy to your field. So you can even take stuff that you destroy, which is really good. And when it's sent to the grave, it has a recursion effect. So if sent to the grave, target a water in the grave, add it back to your hand. And so yeah, I'd like to be playing 3 of each, to be honest, or at the very least 2 of each. But Master Duel says no to that, unfortunately. We can only play 1 of the Toads, so we're only playing 1 Bahamut. Abyss Dweller, just, great water rank 4 monster. I think it's very difficult to know if your opponent's going to use a card that's going to utilize the grave, but it's a good card to have. Oh, and this is something that I will be to quickly change mid-profile. Forgive me, but yeah, that was supposed to be playing 2 of those, but I'll get to that in a bit. We're playing 1 Crooked Cook. So what this card says is if you control no other cards on your field, it's unaffected by other card effects. So that's really, really strong. It's kind of like a very difficult card to out. However, it doesn't have the highest attack and defense, so you could say, oh, people could just attack over it. But that's what we use Right Hand Shark for. If we summon it using this card, it cannot be destroyed by battle. So it creates this really annoying kind of like Mystic Mind type thing where your opponent can't do anything to it with card effects, and it can't attack over it. So we can sit with our 200 defense monster and just Mystic Mind our opponent out of their deck them out, which is pretty funny. But yeah, so that's in there for some stalling if we need to stall. We are running the Chakanine and the Borbo, the 2 Zodiac monsters. Basically, we just use 2 level 4s to go into Chakanine, and then we overlay into Borbo, use Borbo to attack directly, and then go into Zeus for a 4 material Zeus to help us go second to clear boards and have some really strong, Zeus plays. 1 Gaga Gaga, 4 Gauss, Magician. We use this to target a rank 4 monster in our graveyard to reborn it and then go into the Utopic Draco feature package. So we'll usually go into Bahamut Shark, overlay into something like Vespinato, use XYZ Remora to detach the Bahamut, then use the monsters we summon to summon Gaga Gaga Magician, and then reborn the Bahamut, and then go into the Utopic Draco future. So a really good card to help us extend our plays. 2 Stealth Kragen. This is like one of the best cards in our deck. It's our main win condition. It's our main offensive lock. Basically, it says all monsters on the field become water, and once per main phase, quick effect, you can destroy 1 water monster your opponent controls. And if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack it had on the field. So great burn damage, great kind of control, especially for the XYZ festival event. And then we have the Kragen spawn, which we summon these when the Kragen gets destroyed, and we can also summon the Kragen back when the spawn gets destroyed. And this says you can also quick effect destroy 1 water monster your opponent controls. Now, this card does not change your opponent's monster's attribute, so you have to have the Stealth Kragen on the field as well to get the additional pop for the Kragen spawn, but really helps you grind out games and just is really annoying for your opponent to try and play through. Just constant recursion, constant annoyance for your opponent. 1 Vespinato just to put onto a rank 4 to help us combo, and if we need some extra damage on board, because Bahamut can't attack the turn we use its effects, we can overlay into Vespinato, which does piercing damage and is just a good utility card to have in the extra deck, and the 1 Zeus, of course. So yeah, that's going to be the deck. And yeah, so let's get into a game in the XYZ Festival, and I'll show you how this deck plays out. Okay, so here we go into the XYZ Festival. So looks like we're going to be going second, probably, depending on what our opponent picks. Yes, we're going to go second. So yeah, if for those of you who have been playing this mode, you will have noticed a number of people playing the self-burn decks just to get the rewards for playing really quickly, which is kind of annoying. You know, I really want to be playing this game, you know, in a way that's like, okay, I can test my abilities and test the deck and actually have fun. And yeah, it's cool to get some free wins, but it has been kind of annoying to just come up against these decks because, you know, part of the fun for me is at least, you know, battling out with the effects that I want to be using, not just getting free wins. So, you know, I'm glad that they did the change. So now that you get 500 medals for a win instead of just 100, and you still get the 50 for a loss. So it really incentivizes people to play the game properly. Okay, so they're going to be on the Cypher deck, which is pretty interesting. I know the new Cypher structure deck just got released in the game, and I'm thinking about taking a look at that, which would be cool. Who's going to turn these into level 8? So right now we have a decent number of water monsters and extenders. We also have Generation Force, and we also have a Gozen match, which is pretty nice. We'll see what our opponent ends on here. So they're currently on Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon. If this is the structure deck, it's not going to be too difficult to beat, in my opinion. But I'm not 100% sure what exactly all the cards do, so I'll have to make sure I'm not missing out on anything. Attach 2 materials from this card. Your opponent cannot target light monsters with card effects. Okay, well, Kragen doesn't target, so that's good. This says destroy 1 water monster. Okay, so that's gonna, I believe, add back. Yeah, add 1 Cypher from your deck to your hand. Okay, so we're set up pretty well here. This is looking like it's gonna be a pretty easy game, but I'll just show you the basics of what this deck can do and how you should play it and what the board kind of looks like. Although we're not going to be making the best first turn board, although we could if, in fairness. You know, I think, you know what, let's actually do that. Let's pretend as if we're going first, and let's make the best board possible. Okay, so... going to get another generation force. I think we're going to start off with Lantern. Lantern effect to get out Buzzsaw from our hand. Buzzsaw will then target itself. Summon... we can summon the right hand shark from our deck. We can overlay into Bahamut. We can use the Bahamut effect to go into a Toad. I'm so sad that Toad's only at 1 in this game. I was really looking forward to building like a really high power shark deck. But this deck is still, I think, really good. I think you kind of have to play Kragen control now in this Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel format. You can't really play just sharks as it was played before, but yeah, we have everything we need here. Gonna go XYZ Remora. Summon it by detaching 2 materials. And we're going to have both game on board as well as a lot extra. So 2 cards to target. So normally, so the cards you summon off with XYZ Remora have to be used for a water XYZ, I believe. Except for the, yeah, they have to be used for a water XYZ. So you have to use the 2 ones that you didn't summon back for the Ga, or however many Gas there are, Magician. Use its effect. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Use its effect. Bring back the Lantern Shark. Not the I keep calling it Lantern Shark. Bahamut Shark. And go into the topic future. And then we're going to go into the topic Draco future. Hopefully my opponent doesn't quit, because, you know, he probably hasn't seen a monster that can out his board, but here we go. We have a card that now can. And so this is what the first turn board would look like. And then I'd set the Gozen match. We're going to deal 2,000 damage as well as destroy it. So, you know, not the most difficult game in the world, no, but that should show you kind of like what the deck can do and what the final board looks like with a Toad, a Utopic Draco Future, and a Kragen, and we were lucky enough to have the Gozen match as well. So very, very strong end board if we were going first, but yeah, so we get the 500 medals, get a couple rewards. So yeah, that's going to be it for, I think, for this video. I hope you enjoy. I hope you like the Kragen deck, and I'll hopefully be making some more content on this deck, because Sharks or Kragen control, whatever it is, it really is my favorite deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Currently right now. Slightly ahead of Utopia right now. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.